Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you can hear me. Yes, you can. Okay. Wow, had some technical difficulties there. It seems my Streamlabs wasn't working. Anyway, episode 166. First, I want to give it a shout out to my boy Innate Cleaning. He will finesse your house, deep clean it. He will make love to your floors and make your walls look jealous with how beautiful he cleans floors, walls, sinks, washer, dryer, everything. Cleans everything beautifully, immaculately. Follow him on Instagram, Innate Cleaning. Also, if you guys are interested in buying some Backpacking America merch, they're for a very affordable price. We are against the $60 hoodie complex. You can get your Backpacking America hoodies, t-shirts, coasters, mugs, Backpacking America backpacks, and many more items. All right, now that I'm done with my sales pitch, we could talk about the tragedy and the farce of American society that resulted in Amir Locke's death. There's been like no talk about this whatsoever in the mainstream media. I guess people believe that if a Democrat's in power, police killing of workers, especially black workers, just doesn't happen, which is kind of stupid. So basically what happened was the police in Minnesota authorized a no-knock warrant. And what a no-knock is basically a regular warrant, but with the implicit permission to not have notifying the resident that there is going to be a warrant executed against them. So basically what is going to happen if you get a no-knock is the police could just bust down your door with guns drawn and arrest you. And the reasoning for this was that the police said a no-knock would be safer according to the released warrant, and that it would reduce the risk to prevent the loss of destruction, removal of the objects of search, and to protect the safety of the searchers or the public. So basically they're like, oh, it's just going to make things safer, and it resulted in, a suspect, not even a criminal, a suspect getting killed. So, I feel like this flies in the face of the whole notion of innocent before proven guilty, right? Innocent unless proven guilty. That's the whole hallmark of supposedly why we have our justice system set up the way it is, and this is a gross violation of that American spirit. To give a no-knock warrant implicitly, it implies that this person is already guilty before they're even put before a court of law. They already made a judgment against this man by sending in a no-knock and going into the house without notifying the tenant. This is not how justice should be done. If this person is truly that dangerous, it has to be found in a court of law. You can't give a no-knock warrant and there's no evidence. There's no solid evidence. It's one thing if the police got, a video of this guy being violent and murdering people. You know what I mean? But oh wait, was there a video? Wait, hold on. Because I may have just looked like an idiot. Locke was staying in one of the apartments when a SWAT team executed the no-knock raid. Graphic footage of the incident. Locke can be seen in video footage on the couch. Locke was a legal gun owner. Described Elder's murder as a violent robbery where the suspect shot the victim. Who's Elder? As part of the St. Paul Police Department's investigation into Elder's death, the apartment secured warrants for several units at an apartment building. Oh yeah, they don't have so they don't even have video of this person getting murdered, right? So basically they just bust it in and they're just like, oh well, he pointed a gun at us, so we had to shoot. First off, anyone who's anyone, especially if you're in a rough area of town or you're a conservative middle-aged man, you sleep with a loaded gun next to you. Like that's not unheard of in this country where we have 3 guns per person. So, I think the figure's 127 guns per person. I forgot. It's anywhere between 3 and 127. Just a small little space. No big deal. But And basically, what I see now is a lot of people will judge him and say, oh, well, he pointed a gun at the officers. And it's like, well, someone just busted into your crib and all you know is you see people with guns pointed at you. You know what I mean? He was asleep, but he was just like, what? You know what I mean? Like, you did a no-knock. That's part of the reason of letting people know there's a warrant for their arrest, so they're not freaked out and they don't, because no one's a threat to you if they knock on your door first. I mean, maybe unless you're a serial killer, but, likely if someone's knocking on your door, it's more just like they need something from you. And in this case, it's like, hey, we need to serve you this warrant. You need to come with us. Like, that de-escalates it completely. It's also an attack on not just the legal system with the no-knock warrant, but this is also the Second Amendment being under attack, right? This guy was a legal gun owner. He had every right to have that gun in his possession and for his defense. And in some states, I'm not sure what the case is for Minnesota, but in some states, it's actually legal to kill a police officer under certain circumstances. So, some people don't even understand the letter of the law, which if they own a firearm, they should. But, it's just kind of like, this is a Second Amendment issue too, because this guy legally owned a gun and used it in self-defense. He didn't know who these people were. He didn't know why they were coming for him. He didn't know he had a warrant out for his arrest. They just busted into his house. The NRA should be all over this. I feel the NRA should be all over this because a legal gun owner was executed because he thought he was under attack and tried to defend himself. This was completely baseless. A no-knock is for people where, like I said before, you have video evidence of someone actually fucking killing someone. This dude John, just shot like 6 babies in the fucking head, row to row, no mask on or anything. Like, we could see his whole face. And this dude said, yeah, I'm gonna kill the cops too. Bang, bang. Like if it's that blatant, like, okay, that makes sense. But as a rule of thumb, a no-knock is a violation of the whole principle of innocent before proven guilty. Your innocence is always assumed before your guilt. And none of that was applied to Amir at all. It's definitely, what's the point of owning a gun if you can't defend yourself? And, that's something that needs to be considered with these no-knocks, where it's just kind of like, you're just busting into someone's house screaming and there's armed men. Like, what do you think? That's insane. And, how can you know what's happening? How can he know what's happening when you have a situation like that? A lot of people are scared and confused and you don't know what's going to happen. A lot of, and then they cited their fear being, oh, well, we're worried he's going to run away and just, disappear into the wilderness, basically. And it's just, or the evidence might disappear. And it's like, okay, but like, even if that's assuming the person's guilty. That's assuming their legal standing at that point. It's just kind of like, okay, he might be a connection, but they also obtained warrants for several apartment units in that building. So it probably wasn't even him. And they're trying to frame it like he was this violent guy because he was asleep with a pistol in his hand. I mean, dude, like, I don't know, man. If I was asleep like that, if I, I'm not even being on some shady shit. Like, if you just live in a scary area or like, like robberies happen, like home invasions happen in your area, I'd sleep with a pistol. And he legally owned it. It's not like he was some, and I honestly think, the whole ghost gun thing is fucking ridiculous. It's fucking stupid because, this is the Second Amendment. I personally feel a rifle should be in every hand. I would say even like, because here's the thing, right, with ghost guns, and why I'm really okay with them, is because if you can't get a guy, like say you committed like a felony, right, and this is gonna get totally used against me. I can already feel it in my bones 10 years later. Basically, not all felonies are violent or involve a gun crime, you know? For example, you could be some college kid at 18 years old, and you could have a buddy in your car that has cocaine, and you travel across state lines, making it a federal crime. You all get pulled over, and you all get charged with the felony drug possession or transport, right? That's not a violent crime. You just happen to be in the car with a fucking idiot, but you can't own a gun. So basically, people that are not violent will be prevented from owning guns. So in some cases, you need to buy a gun. In other cases, some people use it to commit horrendous crimes. That I understand too. But I feel like we need to change the whole culture around guns and make it like it's your civic duty and just give guns to people, especially if they go to, training centers sponsored by the government once a month, and you get paid to go, and your job gets paid by the government to allow you to leave, so you can go get trained, and then when you complete your training, you're given a rifle for free. Because I personally believe that guns even though they are a sacred right in our country, they're not accessible by anyone either. In some cases, a ghost gun is way more accessible. I'm assuming, at least, but I don't know how expensive like a ghost gun is, but I'm assuming if like the poorest of the poor are buying these guns, I'm assuming they're like $100 or something. I don't know, but assuming they're cheap, like if we just made guns affordable and like nationalized gun production, just made them at an affordable rate so everyone could buy them, we could legally track all the guns. It would be associated with a name, and then there wouldn't even be a need for a ghost gun problem. If anything, like the ghost gun doesn't matter to me because it just shows how hypocritical the Second Amendment is. It's the Second Amendment of the Bill of Rights. It's supposed to be one of the most important foundational amendments in our country's history, and not everyone can access it, and it's a security issue. But this Locke guy owned a gun legally, and it's hard to get a gun. I don't know what it's like in Minnesota, but in New York, you get denied the first time. You always get denied the first time, and then you have to go back. So they look at you, they sit you down, and they look you in the eye, and they ask you questions. Why do you want this gun? What do you want to do with this gun? Are you sure you want this gun? And they ask for 5 references. They can't be police. They can't be ex-military, I don't think. So at least in this state, getting a handgun is very difficult. And this guy went through that process, and the police, the same people that ordered the warrant against him, were like, yeah, you're good. We feel safe enough with you having this legal firearm that we know you own. Like what? Like, I'm not saying that legal gun owners can't commit armed crimes, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, how stupid would you have to be to commit a crime with a gun you own? Because it could be tracked. You understand? Like if you fire, say you own like an AR, right? And you fire your 5.56 round, and the cops are like, okay, this is a hollow point 5.56 NATO round in the town of Nantucket. Okay, let's look for everyone that recently purchased hollow point, and then if we can't find, if those people are all, innocent, then we just expand the search. That's kind of like the whole point of it. I don't know if that's necessarily what happened here, but even if it was, you call them in for questioning, or you get a warrant to bring them in. You don't no-knock them and just say, surprise, motherfucker, come with us. Like, that's not how you do it. That's not innocence before guilt. It's like, why would you, if this is a legal gun owner, you gotta give some, like, credit. I mean, like, supposedly with how prevalent ghost guns are, this guy, if he was really a criminal, he would have just bought the gun illegally. Like if he knows he has to sleep with a loaded handgun, he knows he could easily get like an untraceable ghost gun. There's even people that build gun, like, and this is the thing about ghost guns, that the whole ghost gun conversation, it's like a lot of people think it's like this shady deal in a back alley. It's like, all right, here's your Colt 1911. No, you could buy the parts online. You could straight up go on an online gun store and buy a lower and upper, a grip, a magazine, the bolt, the pins, everything, down to like the fancy little sights and like the color of the gun pieces. Have them shipped to a box, and then you can manufacture the gun at home with a screwdriver, and you have a gun that has no serial number, no address attached to it, and no background check ran on you. So let me ask you a question, right? Like, that now that's kind of like, I understand why some people are scared about that, but it's much bigger. It's a much bigger scope than just like your dude that lives in the city and he, you beat in a back alley, then hands you a gun, and is like, all right, $300, let's go. It's a lot different than that, especially with the internet. So really, and the people that, build these guns are all different types of people. You may even know a few of them. It's just widespread. So like the fact that they did, and this is the thing too, like if they want to crack down on ghost guns and they know, like technically there's like legal loopholes through the internet, but like did the police look through that first? Like, okay, were any of these suspects, did they have online records that showed they purchased things from, these online gun stores and then probably pieced together a .223 caliber firearm, as it was termed in the article? Did they do that? I have no idea. But my whole beef with this is that they just gave a no-knock for no issue, for no reason, really. And considering there wasn't even video evidence, he was just one of like, let's just say like a dozen suspects in the same apartment block. Like, just give them all warrants for the same time. You send your guys in, you just take them with you, and that's it. Because if you knock on the door and you say police, and then they pull the gun on you, then that's your guy. But if you're just going to kick in the door, how is that serving justice? For all we know, he could have been innocent, which I think he probably was. Or maybe he knew something and you just killed like a witness. Like that's so destructive. I don't see how a no-knock raid under any circumstance is less lethal or less safe or more safe to everyone involved, because you're just surprise attacking someone's house. Like, you don't know any of that. You know what I mean? You don't know I don't think you don't know how to clear a building or SWAT guys, but you don't know like the full story with this guy. I personally think it's a violation of our rights as American citizens to have no knocks happen without any basis, like real solid evidence showing that a no knock is necessary. I'm not saying get rid of them completely, like in those like extreme circumstances a no-knock should be issued, but I mean, think of it like this, right? You're getting evicted from your house or your apartment. Don't you think that should be a no-knock? Because you're literally taking someone's home. That's a home invasion. It's a sanctioned home invasion. They don't do that for people that even have registered firearms and they live in those places. They don't no-knock them. You know what I mean? And there's not really violence that occurs at those. I haven't heard of, someone, cops getting shot at when they're serving an eviction. I've only seen a couple of cases during the pandemic where, the community got together to physically stop the officers, but it was like dozens of people, But those are very rare cases. In most cases, people get the warrant and they're the eviction notice and they're like, ah, shit. Or they get a warrant served and they're like, all right, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, some people, they might throw a fist, But then you're a cop, dude. Like, just either know how to fight or don't be a cop. Like, you don't need to go through all this crazy shit because now you just got a guy killed and we don't even know if he was the guy that did it. So now how are we supposed to give justice to the person that was murdered, right? Like think, you know what I mean? And this is a legal gun owner. A legal gun owner. And the NRA is like completely silent on it. And it's like, dude, like they just killed a guy that legally owned a gun, was one of over a dozen suspects in the same building. And they all issued no knocks for not really, like just very vague reasons of safety or whatever. You know, in the post 9/11 world, we're so focused on safety that we're actually just eroding our constitutional rights. And it's just sad. It's just so sad because we value safety and security more than the inherent right not to get shot on our couch holding a constitutionally legal thing. They're trying to spin this too, like, oh, well, he was standing, like basically like he was ready for something. So what? He's on his own property. He's legally allowed to own that gun. He's registered. He had it registered with the government. If I could sleep naked on my couch with my rifle like this if I wanted to, resting over my body, and no one can do anything or say anything about it. That's my right to do that in my private property. So why, the media is trying to spin it around like, oh, like, or was it the media or the cops? Let me look back. Let's see. Let's see here. Same apartment. Resubmit the warrant application. The warrant released. Removal of objects. Where is it? Decrease the risk. Approved. Cahill. Warrant. Same apartment. No knock. Let's see here. Oh, Locke wasn't even named in any of the search warrants that the police obtained. But his cousin was. So he was just like... But he was arrested and charged this week. So why did they even come after him? That's insane. Oh, and he was staying. I guess he was staying over at an apartment, and then he got hit with that. Wait, so they basically just shot a guy they weren't even looking for. And the media said this: Locke can be seen in video footage on the couch with a pistol in his hand moments before he was shot dead. Graphic footage of the incident from a police body camera shows Locke under a blanket on the couch when police stormed the house. So he was probably like defending someone or like just himself. We don't really know why he was sleeping with a gun, but it was probably for a good reason considering he's a legal gun owner. And we also don't know like the stand your ground rules in that state. So this guy basically, he was shot dead holding a gun that he was legally allowed to hold. And the way they said this, Locke was a legal gun owner according to his parents, who have said police executed their son. So, and they put executed in quotations. So the media is like, oh, well, executed. Like, bro, they executed him because the warrant was not for him. They shot him with like no knowledge of who was in the room, and he was probably there already to protect something and was already on heightened alert because he was sleeping with a gun. So like, what do you expect? This is why you don't do no knocks. No knocks are a violation of our rights, and no knocks completely put everyone involved in jeopardy, and it resulted in the death of someone that that wasn't even on the fucking warrant. Absolutely batshit insane. Thank you all again for listening to another episode of Backpacking America and hearing me rant. This is an egregious violation of this man's rights, our rights as American citizens, and it is shameful that the National Rifle Association is not even talking about this whatsoever, because this man is a legal gun owner, and that's just pathetic on their part.